The sword does not choose the path of good or evil. That is dictated by the man who wields it. Now, Hunter Biden is looking at a maximum of 25 years in prison on 3 felony charges, and we've got them right here. The first 2 counts were for lying about his drug use on a federal background check form, and the third count was for possessing a gun while addicted to or using illegal drugs. The judge said sentencing is usually set for 120 days following a verdict. Hunter Biden could face up to 25 years in prison and a fine up to $750,000 at sentencing. Through he would likely will receive far less as a first-time offender. And we have a little statement from the man himself, Hunter Biden. Following the verdict, Hunter Biden said he is more grateful for the love and support of his family than he is disappointed by the outcome. His attorney, Abby Lowell, said they would continue to vigorously pursue all the legal challenges available to Hunter. And we've got a response from the walking meme himself, Joe Biden. In a statement, the president reiterated his role as a father seeking to support his son after the conviction. As I said last week, I am the president, but I am also a dad. Jill and I love our son, and we are so proud of the man he is today, he said. Yeah, it's understandable that a father and a mother would love their son or daughter no matter what, but I don't know why you would be proud of the man he's became. He's done some very heinous shit, but so's the whole Biden family, let's be honest. Now, will Hunter Biden face the maximum prison sentence of 25 years and also the maximum fine of $750,000? No, he will not. Not in any way, shape or form he will go anywhere near that as a form of punishment. Now, Joe Biden himself has already made a public statement that he has 100% faith in the American justice system, and no, he will not pardon his own son to get him off, pardon the pun, scot-free. Whatever happens, happens, and we'll let the courts decide that. Do I believe him? No, absolutely not. There will be something happening in the background very sneakily to either A, minimise the damage, or B, find a really sneaky BS way of getting him off, again, pardon the pun, scot-free. I think that's going to be one of the two outcomes for sure. He will not face anywhere near the time in jail or the fine that he actually deserves. Now, imagine from a Doctor Strange and a Multiverse of Madness perspective that this exact case was happening, but it wasn't Hunter Biden, it was Donald Trump. That would have been 750 years in jail and a $75 million fine to the maximum for sure. Again, like I mentioned in one of my recent videos, rules for thee but not for me. There would be no way in shape and form that Donald Trump would receive a lighter punishment or would be getting so much sympathy as Hunter Biden's been getting within, American news. Again, whenever it comes to what's happening with Donald Trump right now, with his felony charges, they will rip and tear him apart like pulled pork. However, when it comes to Hunter Biden, for example, it's really funny to see them try and sympathise with him as much as possible. I even heard CNN talking about, oh, he might have bought that revolver to kill himself. He might not be mentally all there. Oh, poor thing, we need to be looking out for him. Did you know that most of the American firearms that are purchased are used for self-infliction, for taking their own life and not for murders? He could be one of those victims. Oh, boo! So on and so forth. It's kind of the same treatment over here in the UK that Philip Schofield got when he was basically caught being a little kiddie fiddler, to say the very least, and he lost his job. Bearing in mind that Philip Schofield was a national treasure here in the UK, and he lost that in one fell swoop as well, because he had been pretty much trying to fiddle another man of 18 years old and had been grooming him for several years before that as well. And when he gave his little interview after that with him vaping, which was fucking funny and cringe at the same time, him going, "I'm going to kill myself. Is that what you want?" And again, if this had been another controversial figure within the UK like Count Dankula or Tommy Robertson or even Nigel Farage, who's been caught doing something like this, they would have gotten zero sympathy and they would have been bullied into hell for sure. But because Philip Schofield is part of the message of people out there, he got the sympathy going, please stop targeting Philip Schofield. He's really thinking about doing it to himself. He's very depressed. You're bullying him. You're taking it too far. Even though he'd been grooming a kid for several years and also basically trying to have him as a fuck toy, to say the very least. It's just kind of the same thing over here with this case with Hunter Biden. Like, oh, poor him. Oh, he didn't know better. So, but again, if this had been Donald Trump or Donald Trump's son that would have done this, they would be demanding the death sentence for sure, which is pretty hypocritical in my opinion. But the other thing I find quite funny about this as well is it's quite like if you're not retarded, we can safely sit here and say that Joe Biden is one of the biggest clowns that has ever ran a country ever. There's no doubt about that. However, someone else that can rival him, who was up until very recently the current, prime minister or president, so to speak, of Scotland, Humza Useless, as I like to call him, have a lot in common with Joe Biden. Again, he had a family member, his brother-in-law, who was doing some very shady stuff with drugs and even had some very serious allegations done with him. He was also dragged to court and is looking at prison time as well. And again, he will go down as one of the biggest clowns in human history in terms of a leader of a country. I wouldn't necessarily say one of the most evil, but in terms of just clowns, yes, for sure. The other thing I find quite ironic about this is President Joe Biden is such an anti-gun person, and yet his son's been caught being a felon with a firearm and lying on the form to get his hands on a legal firearm, which again I believe was a revolver as well, when he is such an anti-gun person himself, which I find overall to be quite ironic, that a man who thinks that the 9mm will blow the lungs out of the back but a .22 will not do that. And also the fact that this is the man who pulled out of Afghanistan to let the Taliban take over, while leaving an unfathomable amount of weaponry behind for the Taliban to take and use for their own evil. And he's the one saying, I know what's best when it comes to the firearms of America, and we do not need them in our country, which I completely, utterly disagree with, because, well, they've got the Second Amendment for sure. As I said towards the start of this video, the sword does not choose the path of good or evil. That is dictated by the man who wields it. A lot of people have this in their head that the second your hands get in touch with any form of weaponry, or in this case a firearm, it turns you evil, and the weapon itself is evil. That is not the case. And that is dictated by the man who wields it. And I think a lot of people need to see this and realise that guns do take a lot of innocent people's lives, which is pretty sad to hear, to say the very least. However, a lot of those firearms are actually illegally imported and are not legally bought. And the one thing that is never talked about in media, which I wonder why, is how many innocent lives are saved by firearms by police officers or people using their rights as an American to defend themselves, such as stand your ground laws, for example, that are sadly not in every state, but a lot of states. You have the right to stand your ground and fight to the death, and even kill if needs be, to protect yourself and your family. Guns can be used for good, guns can be used for evil. That is not dictated by the firearm, that is dictated by the man who wields it. And I think a lot more people need to hear that as well. And again, with the amount of nonsense that comes out of Joe Biden about, how deadly firearms are, and, these big fully automatic assault weapons, a little fact for anyone watching who doesn't know, the AR does not stand for assault rifle, it's Armalite, the company that makes them. An assault rifle is something different. They do exist, but whenever they're talking about, the big scary fully automatic assault rifle AR-15, it's just such lies. It's chambered in 5.56 by 45mm. Yes, you would not want to be shot by that, but it's not an absolute god-killing round like the media tries to make it out to be, like it's some absolute beyond evil, demonic weapon, the biggest and most deadliest weapon ever made. It's the fullest thing from the truth. And the fact that we've got people like Joe Biden, having full control of our firearms and say and do over what the Americans can and can't do with their firearms, and what they can and cannot purchase as well. A man like that should not be in charge for sure, and I think we will definitely see him for the last time. I think 2024, I think Donald Trump will get in for sure, unless something very bad happens to him. But I've went a little bit off course, but yeah, overall, I don't think he'll get 25 years in prison with a fine of $750,000. He'll get something extremely less, or let off the hook by some miracle. I think it's really ironic that at the time of Joe Biden saying about firearms, his son's just been caught being a felon with a firearm. And again, a man who's such a bumbling idiot who left so many weaponry in terms of vehicles and firearms and God knows what else in the hands of the Taliban. And also this whole idea that guns make people evil, and if we just remove guns, that it sorts the problem. No, man chooses good or evil. I'll wrap the video up with this. You ban all firearms in America, cool. You will end up with mass stabbings. The United States of London will happen. Okay, you ban all sharp objects in America. Sound. You will now have mass bludgeonings with cricket bats, or since this is America, probably baseball bats. Okay then, let's ban all sporting equipment. Then what will happen is it'll be mass bludgeonings or attacks with random environmental weapons lying about. Cool. Ban everything that's not nailed to the ground. Then what will happen is these types of people will just go on massive sprees with their hands and feet and whatever else they might be able to still get their hands on. Cool. Ban people from having feet in hand. Cool. You've now resolved the issue. However, you've now got a collapsing country full of people who are chicken nuggets. The weapons are not the problem, the people are. Once you can accept that and you can move forward and deal with that as an issue and stop blaming weapons as a whole, we might get somewhere to stopping crime as a whole, or these senseless, absolute demonic levels of mass killings in public. Weapons are not the problem, people are. Once we accept that, maybe we can deal with the issue. But I'll wrap the video up there. Thank you very much for watching till the very end, it's greatly appreciated. If you could like, subscribe and hit the bell notification. We're less than, I think we're about 25 subs away from 1,000, so if we can hit that by the end of June, that would be awesome. Leave a comment down below if you agree or disagree with anything that I said. I'll respond to you as soon as I can. If you want me to cover a topic in a future video, again, let me know down in the comments as well. If you really want to hear some of my most spiciest opinions and some just absolute hysterical stuff, you can find me over on Twitter at rant-A-holic, linked in the pinned top comment. But yeah, thank you very much for watching again, it's greatly appreciated. If you want to go check out my previous videos about the new Star Wars absolute bombshell, the Acolyte or whatever the hell it's called, I've forgotten already, or me talking about Bradley Martin slapping the hell out of that Fortnite streamer, again, please go check out my other videos. I've got a ton of things from America to the UK, to the police, absolute woke television, and just the overall propaganda of the world. But yeah, thank you very much for the support. Have a great day and a better week to follow.